Commission public meeting. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, God.
Thank you. The record reflect we have a full commission tonight. For voting purposes, staff, ladies and gentlemen, the commission staff has circulated a draft copy of minutes from our October 14th, 2021 meeting. Has anyone had a chance to review? Any corrections to be made? A motion.
I second.
A motion and second to approve the minutes as submitted. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Business. We have no new business before us tonight. We do have a few items for discussion. May lead to a few more items for discussion. First item on our agenda is discussion relating to purchase agreement for 195 East Main Street. This is the 4-unit apartment building on the corner of Tennessee and Main Street. We last month we approved to submit an offer to the landowner for purchase of that property, which we did do today. The seller contacted me immediately or a few minutes after receiving that to talk about the number, which the offer amount was not acceptable to the seller. Essentially, it was a decline at that amount. So we discussed this, that, and the other, what might be acceptable, and I also reached out to legal counsel to try to determine what our limitations, our restrictions on what we could offer, since we do have 2 appraisals in hand. And legal counsel's response was that we could offer basically whatever we wanted, provided it was done in a public meeting. So what I ask you to consider, discuss, is what do we want to do from here? We have appraisals in hand. We know it's not going to be enough. What does the commission, pleasure of the commission on acquiring the property?
Review what
Yeah, I know the average was 218.5. One was in the low 220s, I believe. Higher one was in the low 220s.
So, refresh my memory, this is a fourplex?
4 units.
4 units. So, I'll just share something personal with the group, is that I just today had, or yesterday, put in an offer for a duplex, a 2-unit in Brownsburg. And I did not get it, but the accepted offer was $21,000 over asking. So, I mean, it's partially the market, some of the demand, I guess, if you will. So I guess I say all that to say that, I think that as a commission, we would consider increasing an offer, for that. And again, the unit in Brownsburg was 2. This is 4. I'm not, ultimately saying that, there's some more value, there, I guess, in my opinion.
It's a difficult position. Trying to negotiate property eventually in the future. Improvements may go up on that property. It's hard to do. We've got it. Yep. Opportunity and time.
And since you spoke to him,
Well, he's aware of what the property on the other side of what we own sold for, and he was basically using that as a comp, as of what he had in mind. And so, I don't know that it'd have to be all of that, but, if we want to have a realistic shot at getting this, I probably need to have your authority to negotiate up to that amount, 250.
And you're in regular communication with the seller?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I would have, and I think maybe this might be an appropriate, thing to maybe put I don't even know what the right word is, option contingency to, maybe say up to, that 250 mark.
It's just a matter of how bad we want it. Really what it comes down to. On whether or not we feel that we can spend that on a corner piece.
I'm fine.
Lisa, would something like, we would need a motion for something like this?
I'd be satisfied if we start at 250. See where it takes us, because I think it shows our due diligence. Right.
Well, I think that maybe we ought to maybe consider, if you're doing some of that negotiation, to also give you a little wiggle room as well. So, I kind of would be with, Glover to say that, up to, maybe a little wiggle room of up to 250.
I'd rather do having these meetings. I guess I'll make a motion then, the leeway to go up.
I second.
We have an motion and a second to negotiate up to $250,000 for the purchase of 195 East Main Street. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item up for discussion, agricultural properties Southeast Danville, update.
So at the last meeting, we talked about providing, doing a letter and providing a list of property owners that we would approach that are immediately adjacent to the town boundaries right now. So that's what I've put in front of you, is a draft of a letter with those parcels that appear to be adjacent to the town corporate limits to contact. And welcome any changes or opinions or whatever on that letter.
This is definitely going down the right path. I've just breezed through this letter one time, and I think it's very important that we do mention utilities in here, because I think that's a big benefit. But I question just the way it's worded, and correct me, just something to think about. It says you would have access to all municipal services. Is that a fact? Like, if somebody deeper in the property, if we say they're gonna have access to sewer, are they really gonna have access to sewer? I mean, they will eventually. So,
It'll come with time, but it's not available immediately, if that's what you're saying.
if they're on the west side of 300 East. If they're on the east side of 300 East, then they would have access to West Central, because I believe they have sewer running into that area, so, or they have availability to run sewer into that area. And we're not opposed to letting them come in further if they need to be, but it is our intent to take some of our ARP money and try and run sewer into the airport and get it over there. Plus, we've talking with Banning Engineering, we can run it from Waste Management's facilities themselves.
Yeah, and I don't really need to go into all the details of how it's gonna get there and all
Yeah.
of that, but I just wanna be careful on how it's worded so somebody doesn't annex and say, hey, tie me up to sewer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's not really,
There.
the line's not really there.
Yeah, good point.
Any other thoughts from the commission on, so, backing up just a little bit at the, commission's request, Linda and I went to the town council meeting at a, executive session, to pitch this idea, try to get
Work study.
feedback.
Work study, yeah.
On how, are we heading in the right direction, any objections? And I got a bunch of nods that we were heading in the right direction. So this is what prompted Lisa to put together this list and this letter. And thoughts?
I like the idea because it opens up and starts that discussion, with those property owners.
We can tweak that letter to put, something in there that, maybe not, they're there now.
Yep.
But,
I wouldn't mind taking a crack at some edits, just
yeah,
to,
sure, absolutely.
all right.
Yeah, do that.
Right move. Tracy, what do you think?
And let those folks know what opportunities might be for them in the future.
Do we need a motion? Yeah, right. I don't think we do either.
So, no.
Yeah, so, good, thank you for it's out, definitely by the end of the year, in a couple weeks.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Talk yarn.
And Lisa, as I go through that list, I have one update, but I'll get with you offline on that.
Ready to move on? Next item for discussion, DQ Block, the vacant lot that we own, and we have a pending comfort letter through IDEM pending. They have yet to sign off on it. They've come back and asked some more questions, of which we have given them answers. And I believe, it's still pending with IDEM at the state on signing off. You remember they did find some contamination in the northwest corner of the lot we own that came off the former filling station. And so it's in the state's hands, and we await their sign off. And that's the update and report. And it's beyond me why these things take so long to get done, but nevertheless,
Because the
that's,
state has about 3 crews taking care of the whole state.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah. So Ice Miller reached out to Lisa Tournay and I to ask a couple of questions. We got him some information, and back to the state it goes. We'll see what happens. Any questions, comments? Before we move on to the report of officers, committees, and staff, are there any other items for discussion that were not on the agenda that any of the commission members want to talk about?
Tiny little follow-up. Our wonderful little wall that we would like to have painted the parking lot. I haven't gotten together with Lisa yet, but I have been in contact with Ann Johansson. They're getting their budget ready together for this next year, and that's definitely on her radar. Also talked to an anonymous person so far about some other funding options and a really good idea on how to fund this project. And I guess my only other concern as it concerns this commission is I don't want to see us spend all that money if it's possible here, or just, what our thoughts are long-term. I know we don't have that yet, but get everybody's feedback, whether they think the sidewalk, the wall will stay where it is, and whether it's worth pursuing beautifying it.
So to bring everybody up to speed and make sure we're all talking about the same thing, this is the new sidewalk and kind of retaining wall that runs north and south from Marion Street in front of the library north to almost the breadbasket, to the alley. by the
Well, yeah.
breadbasket. So that's the new white concrete in question, potentially doing a mural on the east side of that wall, west side of the wall. So that's the area in question, if anybody has any questions. I'm gonna see, Paul?
Well, I've been by there, but don't know for sure, but how tall is that?
It's tiny, but I know, it's very tiny, but it is also 10 sections long. When you're, like at the dentist office, that side, it's very impactful. Big. And then just seeing the murals that were done, impact I think it would be huge. The library has some really good ideas on how to paint it. It would be very
Is the
attractive.
wall there now?
The wall's there now, and it would be the top, and
I'll make sure I walk by
The-
there.
The only reason it would come down that I could think of was be a redevelopment of a bigger area.
Exactly.
And if and when that would happen, who knows, who knows? So it has the potential a few years from now to happen. Maybe not.
I just wanted to get it.
Keep that in mind as you price it out and whether you want to run that risk or not. There is a risk that it.
Linda,
Yes.
have you gotten any quotes or anything as far as a dollar amount on what it could possibly cost?
Yes.
Okay.
The artist Mary, who's done a lot of the other murals, her feelings were, so there's 10 sections. Depending how fast she could go, between $250 and $500 a section. So the funding idea that was brought to my attention was to have, maybe have some of the businesses fund a block. That would take off some of the costs. But like I said, Ann Johansson is behind this project also, and there's possibility of too. So, but it is town property. Into it too.
Before we move on to staff, I'll ask if our esteemed guest in the audience has any comments or questions for the board. Any discussion points? Mr. Cupp?
Mr. Cupp, would you mind approaching the podium because we won't be able to hear you? We won't be able to pick you up on the recording. Thank you. Just announce your name.
I wanted to make sure that nobody had any questions for me. I've been following the YouTube videos or whatever about my purchase at 145 East Main Street.
One question. Will you give us that? It was very nice of you to buy that for us and then turn it over. You're going to give that to
Do I
us,
need to go
right?
closer? Is that what I was doing wrong?
No,
No questions?
I don't. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Cupp?
No, but thank you for coming
Absolutely.
and appreciate you,
Yeah,
taking
I
the time to take a look at the YouTube videos and everything. and,
Yeah, I
'cause-
posted on Facebook kind of my intentions with the place, so I just wanted, like I said, it seems, oh, that you can do that and can't do that, and she's like, well, he's never approached me and stuff like that, and I got a warehouse in Brownsburg that we store all our vans and plumbing equipment at, but I also have quite a few toys, so kind of got this since I get some security up there because it was broken into. My red car was vandalized.
Yeah.
So,
Mike, this is Lisa Tournay. She's the zoning director for Town
Yeah.
of Danville. I mean, I mean,
okay. I
it
didn't know
really
if you
doesn't
guys
have
were-
anything to do with our board as much as it does the zoning
Perfect.
commission on what can and cannot be
And
done
I'm
there.
looking forward to working together with these two. They're great people. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Report of officers, committees, and staff.
I don't have anything right now.
You'll be receiving an email from me. It's that time of year again where you'll need to decide if you want to continue serving for another year on this board. In January, the council will do its reorganization, and that's when they do all their board and committee appointments. And so I'll be sending you all an email asking if you're interested in continuing your service on redevelopment. Dr. Schaefer, I think you're good for another year. I think you were just appointed last year by the school board, so I think you're good to go. And Greg, you're at the will of yourself. So, but I just wanted y'all to be prepared. Yeah, I just wanted y'all to be prepared for that. That I'll be sending those out probably. If I don't get them out tomorrow, it'll be after Thanksgiving because I'll be leaving for Florida Saturday. So, thanks.
Anything else?
I don't have.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday season. Thank you very much for, I guess, 11 months of 2021. I appreciate your service to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and I want to thank you for the work you've done on this property. And led the way on it. I want to express my appreciation.
Thank you. Okay, without further ado, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Hey, Mike,